my name is Kavya and we are group one. So my team members are George Sebastian, Abhijith Vishnu, Malavika R, and Samridhini DM. So the topic which we are going to discuss is about psychometric tests. So we will be starting with Malavika R.
Okay, a psychometric test is a standardized procedure designed to measure people's behavior and describe it is using the scores or categories. And the term psychometric comes from the Greek for the word mental and measurement. And there is three main areas that psychometric testing explores. First one is individual abilities and aptitude for work and determining whether his or her personality fits with the vision of the organization. And then psychometric testing, on the other hand, has always been its own now. Since its beginnings in 1880, psychometric tests have undergone significant modification in every possible aspects, improving from the scope to their format. Although psychometric testing is new, the idea of testing potential workers has a long history. And it is said that in ancient China, candidates had to take exams in order to obtain valuable jobs that required them to be knowledgeable in areas such as policy, income, agriculture, the military, and law. These examinations were far straightforward, and the candidates had to complete them over the course of a day and a part of a night. But they were so difficult that only 7% of those who took the exam passed, and the remaining 3% had to be among the three extra. Even if they received the job, this examination would have to be repeated in every 3 years. It is almost as if the psychometric tests are designed to access not only the competency but also the candidate's ability to perform their best. And researchers agree that Francis Galton, who constructed a testing framework to measure participants' intelligence based on their examination for their sensory and motor skills in 1880s. They created the first psychometric test in the sense that we know it today. Francis Galton coined the term psychometric, and his work is designing as effective psychometric tests of sensory and motor skills. Influenced renowned psychologist James Cattell, who established the first laboratory dedicated to psychometrics as a science in 1887. Robert Woodward created the personal data in 1970, a collection of symptoms that may be used to detect psychoneuroses in WWI soldiers. Others' inventions would be aided by the blame. The Big Five personality test was developed in 1950s and 1960s as a result of extensive analytic research to quantify individual differences in personality, and it is still widely used today. Psychometric test is in high demand as a HR tool. Every business wants to make sure that the personnel they recruit are suitable fit for their position. As a result, psychometric industry arose to help executives evaluate how to potential employee might behave in specific situations. Modern psychometric tests everything from measuring aptitude and skills to describing a candidate's behavior and personality, including the candidate's ability to respond to various situations in the workplace and the degree of adaptability, how they handle their stress, and even how they interact with the team and how long they stay in their position. Originally, manual psychometric test was evolved in corporate electronic and online forms, as well as procedures that blend manual and automated processes. This type of psychometric test is a big advancement over paper test, as it is able to help. This is definitely a pivotal moment for the psychometric testing industry, as there is a cusp of a new era in which we made enormous strides in assessing candidates' strength and skills. It is no longer necessary to finish a test in 24 hours or to go through a completely manual process. Instead, automated tests may now be used to assess hundreds of candidates in only a few clicks. Next, I would like to welcome George.
Thank you, Malavika. So speaking about psychometric tests, psychometric tests are a standard and scientific method used to measure individuals' mental capabilities and behavioral style, Metal psychometric test can actually measure the behavior and personality of an individual and help make better work-related decisions. Let's begin by considering four elements that impact human behavior and provide the basis for psychometric tools. They are, first of all, bright side, dark side, cognitive abilities, and X factors. So, speaking about the bright side of a human nature is the positive personality qualities that are detected immediately and capable of improving work performance. People could be classified based on their position on five broad personality traits. Metal has also developed and classified its set of behavioral skills using these five factors as a framework. These are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and emotional stability. Openness simply means a tendency for intellectual curiosity and a willingness to change. They have a diverse range of interest and are eager to try out new things. Conscientiousness. It is a tendency to believe in an organized and thoughtful manner. Extroversion could be said as a tendency towards being enthusiastic and outgoing, and also a tendency to seek in the company of others. Agreeableness. Agreeableness means a tendency towards getting along with people to prioritize and constructively handle the needs of others. Emotional stability. Emotional stability could be simply defined as the tendency to maintain a steady and balanced state, that is, to remain calm and unaffected. So, moving on to the dark side personality traits are stable qualities of a person that can lead to expressing unwanted, unproductive, and harmful conduct that has a negative influence on those around them, that is, friends, family, co-workers, customers, etc. Metal developed a dark personality checklist to assess these dark characteristics in applicants, which includes a variety of all of a person's work-related flaws. Six factors which could assess this dark side personality traits are opportunism, self-obsession, insensitivity, temperamental, impulsiveness, and thrill-seeking. Opportunism could be described as a tendency to deceive and manipulate others, or a tendency to be cynical or pessimistic about others' motives. Self-obsession is a tendency to have an overinflated ego, which is followed by a weak self-esteem, making the person sensitive to criticism. Insensitivity is the ability to understand a person's pain, suffering, and opinion of others. Temperamental. People who have the tendency to become angry at the slightest provocation and to experience and engage in anger-related emotions on a regular and consistent basis could be considered as temperamental. Impulsiveness. Impulsiveness could be said as a tendency to act on the heat of the moment with almost no thinking and contemplation or consideration of the after effects or consequences. Thrill seeking. This is basically the willingness to participate in activities that are rich in experiences and thrill seeking unique emotions that are perceived as risky yet satisfying. The next is cognitive abilities. Cognitive abilities are the mental capabilities required to process any action, no matter how basic or complicated. As a matter of fact, it is more about the capacity to grasp, understand, and benefit. The way people see things, their strategic thinking, their decision-making ability, all have a role in how they act. It may be categorized into two categories, that is fluid intelligence and crystal intelligence. Fluid intelligence is the capacity to perceive, process, and retain new information in order to solve problems in unfamiliar situations. This could be assessed by using abstract reasoning, spatial reasoning, and visual reasoning. When moving on to crystal intelligence, it is the ability to recover and use data collected over a lifetime, as well as the ability to gain knowledge to perform activities. The main competencies that can be used to assess this are language and comprehension, logical and critical reasoning, problem solving, and decision making. The last but not the least is X factors. It is basically the catalyst that affects the intended human behavior. X factors include upbringing, motivation, and values. When speaking about upbringing, for example, kids are like sponges and they pick up on and imitate the behavior of their parents, and they try to portray their parents. And this may be observed their positive and negative behaviors. Looking for motivation, we could take the example of a soldier who behave in a completely unique way and in a specific manner. The thrill of seeking their loved ones after winning a fight, as well as their love for their nation, keeps them motivated to act properly, even in most difficult conditions. And last but not the least, values. If we consider an organization to be a decision-making body, values represent the connection between decision and what happens as a result of those decisions. They evolve gradually throughout time, depending on social and psychological development of an individual. To speak more about pros and cons, I kindly invite Ms. Samridhini onto a discussion.
Thank you, George. Next, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of the psychometric testing in recruitment to help to determine if it's right fit for the business. First thing is that is pros, that the advantages of psychometric test for hiring. The first point is that it helps to make for a more effective recruitment process. That the can be time consuming. From screen through to final interview, there's a lot of work involved, particularly in cases where high volume applications are received. Determining who to progress and who to reject is also a complex process. A candidate that looks good on paper may not have the skills which I expect, and inviting them to interview could prove fruitless. So with the psychometric testing, it can measure ability in mass early on, ensuring only those with the desired skill set progress to the next stage and increasing the efficiency of the recruitment efforts. Second thing is that it helps to identify those with the most potential. That one of the key benefits of the psychometric testing is that it shows the inherent ability rather than learned knowledge. This gives insights into how easily an individual acquires new skills, how well they process information, and ultimately how they are likely to perform in the role. When multiple candidates have similar backgrounds, this future potential can be used to differentiate between them. And since the psychometric testing provides with measurable data, it's easily to compare like for like. Also, it bear in mind that interviews don't always provide a reliable comparison. Some interviews may be overconfident, others extremely anxious. With data from the psychometric testing at disposal, it helps to judge a candidate more objectively. The third thing is that it helps to ensure the right culture fit. The best employees aren't just right for the job. They are also right for the culture to promote as an organization. Finding talented candidates that also share the business values is perhaps one of the most difficult parts of recruitment. And the wrong culture fit often the cause of failed hires. Personality and situational judgment tests give an additional means of assessing personal motivation, behavioral traits, and working preferences, helping to match the right applicants to the company culture. So next, coming to the cons of the psychometric test for hiring, that is the disadvantages. So the first thing is that a result may be skewed. Though psychometric testing is widely considered a reliable method of assessment, result may not always be accurate. For aptitude tests, the time conditions under which they are taken, along with the added pressure of the job application process, can lead some applicants to underperform on the day. With personality questionnaires, an applicant may provide the responses they believe the employer to be looking for, creating a false image of the ideal candidate. Though this is a downside to psychometric testing, it can be overcome by the ensuring the test results are only used as part of the wider strategy. So the second thing is that ineffective if poorly planned. In order for psychometric testing to be successful, it's important to know exactly what is looking to measure and to plan assessment accordingly. There is no point in testing for abilities that are not applicable to the role, and doing so will add the unnecessary expenses and delay to the process. It should be always seek the advice of a professional test provided to make sure the test administered deliver effective results. It should be designed around the specifics of the role in question. Uh, it enroll in the question and offer insightful reports that help to develop clear objective candidate profiles. So the last thing that it comes with an additional cost. For a full effectiveness, psychometric testing should be designed, administered and interpreted by the professionals in the field, bringing additional cost to your recruitment budget. This can be off-putting for many businesses, particularly smaller organization. However, it should be taken into account that the cost of a bad hire can run into the thousands of pounds. So psychometric testing should be seen more as an investment than an expense. So that's all. Next, I invite Abhijith to present.
Thank you, Samridhini. Now, let me take you through the process of creating a psychometric assessment. Generally, all those tests are measuring somewhere generally the attitude, the traits, and the abilities of a particular person in a particular area that's being assessed. And over the past decades, such instruments, that is psychometric tests and such instruments, are becoming popular in almost all the fields for many different purposes, because they provide multiple related pieces of information on those specific constructs. And there is a scale development process, that is the act of assembling and or writing the most appropriate items to constitute that to create the test questions for that particular target population. And then this target population is actually administered this questionnaire. And then after this test development, we will have a standardization or norming that happens. And we should have that effective scale contribution as well. But effectively, or what happens is that when we see almost all of the successful tests that are currently in use, they have some combination of three following conditions. That is, one will be the theoretical advances, and one will be the empirical advances, and then there will be a practical or that market need that comes into the picture. So in coming to the scale development process, that's it's usually it have that 5 steps. That is defining the measured rate, generating a pool of potential Likert items, or that is rated in 5 or 7 or maybe 9 or 11 or 10, rating from strongly disagreeing to strongly agreeing, and then selecting the items to retain for the final scale, and then administering the scale and to some of the responses of all the items, and some calculations may be done. So this scale development process actually has been in a role for quite a long period of time. That is maybe from 1986, and current research also is going on. Many studies are coming out, and according to one of the researchers, that is Crocker and Algina, in 1986, they had a set of procedure. That is they have some 11 steps. That is setting the primary test purpose, and then setting the behavior of target construct, and then setting the specification, and preparing the item pool, reviewing the pool items, and then piloting the test, and then again revising the pool, and doing that field test, and then analysis of the same, and then validation of those studies, and then that norming manual. So these steps would be similar in many of those tests. So there are many developments that has been having in quite a bit of time. But in a recent paper that I have been going through is a It's written by Kyrios and Stelikas in 2018 from Greece University. They have integrated all of these approaches, and what they have created is that an integrative approaches for all these scale development sources. So their process, I will tell, like, the gap is identified first, and so we already discussed about the three combination. So they will have that set. They will set the theoretical foundation, and then the purpose will be set, and then the attributes, the construct attributes should be selected. Then there would be an overall planning of what should be there, and from there they will be creating the item pool, and then they will put the test specifications, and then administering how to administer that test, and then there would be an expert review of the pool items, and then they will be revising the pool. Then after the first revision, they will be having the pilot test, and then after the pilot test, they will be having again a revision. That is, after the analysis, they will be having a second revision, and after that second revision, they will do the validation studies, and this analysis of the pool and revision and validation is quite a loop. They can take place in multiple iterations, and then a technical manual is created from that. So this is an integrative approach that's being set, or that's being posted in one of the latest research papers by Kyriasis and Stelikas. And when we come to that, the questions during the planning section of the scale development, some questions that we need to identify. Those questions are to be answered. That questions are: how many items are necessary, which response scale is appropriate, Likert scale 5, 7, 9, or 11. Usually what happens is that from 2 to 9 or 3 to 9 is usually, less than 10 is usually used, and 5 or 7 is mostly used. And then how to score the test, which psychometric model is appropriate, and what item evaluation process is suitable for the test, and how to administer the test. So such things are then decided on. And then not only there is Likert scale, but also different types of scales are there. For example, Gutmann scale, Thurston scale, or semantic differential scale, or visual analog. There are so many scaling also. So after that, we will be analyzing the same, and then we will be after those process, we will create the technical manual. So this is what the assessment look like, or creation of a psychometric test looks like. Now I invite Kavya to discuss about the business outcomes.
Thank you, Abhijit. Talking about psychometric tests and its business outcomes. So, psychometric tests have been shown to improve recruitment outcomes by 24%, which hugely saves the business money in both the short and long term. So, psychometric tests can measure various aspects of personality, including enthusiasm, motivation, and the ability to work with others. So, talking about how it helps to yield with various successful business, as we heard before, it helps in enhancing the selection process. It helps in it helps in providing a better individual training, creating synergetic teams, and it helps in employee turnover reduction. So, talking about enhanced selection process, psychometric tests are aimed at finding the right fit for an organization. They help us to find whether if a person has a genuine interest in engaging for the role being offered. A study showed that psychometric tests incorporated in recruitment process cut the recruitment costs by 30 to 40%. It helps in removing the candidates who show even traces of disinterest or curiosity in the job. Psychometric tests help organizations to understand the job fit, cultural fit, and even team fit of a candidate. For example, if an advertising agency is looking for an outgoing and gregarious business development representative, a simple personality psychometric test will reveal if an applicant is a right fit or not. Now, coming to individual training. Psychometric test helps in evaluating and analyzing the performance gaps that are needed to be addressed and taken into consideration to provide individual training. For example, a sales manager might want to understand why some sales representatives are great at presentation and influencing, but still lacking what they are lacking somewhere. So, somewhere they are lacking to close the deal. They're not able to close a deal. So this is all about coming to individual training. Now coming to synergetic teams. So these tests helps in having happy and productive workforce. The information provided by psychometric testing can then be used to create the best organization structure that focuses on diversity in both skills and personalities, and can also be used to identify any existing personality clashes and move individuals to groups more suited to their personalities. Now finally coming to employee turnover. Psychometric tests in recruitment process brings the right candidates on board, thereby reducing the employee turnover. Employees who feel valued and understood often perform better and are less likely to leave a business. So psychometric test allows employers to better understand their employees, their motives and values, which in turn creates more motivated employees. So basically, why it is important is the total cost associated with the turnover ranges from 90 to 200% of a person's annual salary. So that is how how much an attrition can affect an organization. So we see how much psychometric test is important in an organization. So this is all about psychometric tests. So to understand this better, we tried this personality test from the site 16personalitytest.com. So we found that the results were quite representing us. We were able to relate ourselves with the results. So I will be asking Mr. Abhijith Vishnu to start with his observation and his results of the test.
So, thank you, Kavya. So the personality test, after the personality test, I have got my personality type as a mediator INFPA, wherein which I am the mind. I am 39% extroverted and 63% intuitive, 40% thinking, and 42% judging, and 53% assertive. And I feel most of it is having a representation within me, that I am identifying it myself at the moment when I have done the test at my state of mind. That's all from my side. Thank you. Thank you, Kavya.
We will move on to Mr. George Sebastian.
Okay, so after conducting the test, the personality type that I received was campaigner ENFP -A. It basically speaks 96% extroverted, 55% intuitive, 70% feeling, 51% prospecting, and 74% assertive. It basically speaks how my character is, how my personality is. So I think this test is a huge success.
Thank you, George. Moving on to Ms. Samridhini.
Thank you, Kavya. While conducting the personality test, what I got the result is that ENFJA, that is protagonist. So the result shows that 73% of me is that is extroverted, and 52% is intuitive, 33% is thinking, and 63% is judging, and 58% is assertive. So this result clearly shows that our personality and how we can analyze our personality according. Thank you.
Thank you, Samridhini. So coming to mine, I saw that my result was quite apt. I got myself as like 64% introvert and 36% extrovert. I usually used to call myself an ambivert, but I could clearly see that yes, nowadays, since because of this COVID and everything, I have started being an introvert. Like, I have started mingling with people way lesser than way before, and I think there is a difference in my personality as well, which I could observe in this test as well. My energy was found to be 56% intuitive, 44% observant, and my nature was 67% feel. I used to I make decisions on 67% based on my feelings and 33% by analytically deciding what to do. And now coming to my tactics, I have been more like judging. 69% is judging and 31% is prospecting. And coming to my identity, it was 89% turbulent and 11% assertive, which I do feel is more relatable to me. So yeah, this is about my test. So this is all from our side. Thank you.